What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Us vs. Them YouTube channel. I'm your host, Vince, and we're going to break down 3 more fights for the upcoming fight this weekend, UFC 319. I'm really excited to get into these fights. The first fight we're going to break down for today is Edson Barboza versus Jakar Klose. Edson Barboza is sitting at a minus 170 favorite, and Jakar Klose is at a plus 132 underdog. Another interesting thing to note for this fight is Barboza is coming back to the 155-pound division. He spent about 6 years at fighting at 145. His frame just looked like he was getting too big for the division, so I think this fight's going to translate well for him. He is taking on a pretty tough dude in Jakar Klose, who's 9-3, I believe, or something like that in the UFC. He knows how to win in the UFC. He gets a lot of decision wins, but he definitely knows how to win. I think this is going to be a close fight, but when I look at these guys on their feet, I'm definitely leaning towards Barboza with his powerful leg kicks, his powerful kicks to the body. We all know about Barboza. We know he's violence personified. He really mixes in those leg kicks and those body kicks to start setting them up so people can start dropping their hands, and then he explodes on their face, and he's just really dangerous with it. So we know who Barboza is, and I see him finding some success here. A reason why I think he's going to be so successful on their feet is because Jakar Klose tends to be really plotty with his feet. He doesn't move very much. He's really stationary. He's either moving forward or backwards. He's really methodical in how he corrals guys against the cage with his big frame. But him not moving his feet at all, I really worry about Barboza chewing his legs up and landing kicks to the body, and then obviously working his damage up from there. When Jakar Klose tries to close the distance, he tends to also drop his hands. He's, like I said, he's a big dude. He's a durable guy, so he can take some damage. But he's never fought anybody like Barboza who's good at giving damage like that. So if he drops his hands, I see Barboza landing some counter strikes that's going to be could be really devastating for him. He's definitely going to find damage there. Jakar Klose likes to get in close range, work guys against the cage, look for that body lock, and he likes to use that body lock to try to transition to a takedown. But more often than not, he's more content just to keep that body lock and find strategic knees just to, I guess, get the ref off his back or something. I'm not really sure exactly. It's not the most exciting style of fighting, but he's really effective at using it, and that's how he's got 9 wins in the UFC. Like I said, Barboza's coming back up to 155 from the 145-pound division. I think this weight jump is going to do well for him. I think he's going to be able to carry his power better, and he's also going to maintain his cardio better. We saw him in the Lerone Murphy fight. His cardio started to fade away in rounds 4 and 5, but that's not something he's going to have to worry about because this is only a 3-round fight. We have seen in the past Jakar Klose start to fade when he gets to round 3, and if that starts to happen here, Barboza is really going to start making him pay for that. Like I said, Barboza's last 2 fights, he's had to prepare for 5-round fights. This is his first 3-round fight in like 2 years or something like that. So he's only training from a 5-round fight to a 3-round fight makes a huge difference in your cardio. I think he's definitely going to be ready for the round 3 if we get there, and I definitely see we're going to get there at some point. But yeah, I think round 3 is definitely going to belong to Barboza. We've seen in the past both guys show their toughness and their grittiness in fights. We've seen Barboza do this time and time again. But Jakar Klose is not nearly as known for this, but he definitely shows some grittiness and toughness in fights. But one thing that we don't really know is him coming off a KO loss against Joel Alvarez. That was his first time getting knocked out in a long time. So we don't know how much that's going to affect him coming into this fight. For my official prediction, I'm leaning with Barboza. I think his grittiness and toughness is going to prevail. His cardio is going to prevail in round 3. I think both of these guys are tough, gritty veterans, so we're going to go to the distance on this one. So the later this fight goes, it's going to start favoring Barboza. He's able to take damage and still move forward. He's able to make, and the biggest thing is he's able to make in-fight adjustments. He listens to his coaches really well, and he's able to find damage where maybe he doesn't see it, but his coaches do. I've watched in past film study where coaches will say something, look for the check hook or look for the leg kicks, and he does that. And he finds damage and he wins fights. So for my official prediction, I'm going with Edson Barboza by decision. The next fight we're going to break down is Alexander Hernandez versus Chase Hooper. Hernandez is coming in at a plus 230 underdog, and Chase Hooper is sitting at a minus 310 favorite. Chase Hooper has a clear grappling advantage that we pretty much all already aware of. He's really smooth with his transitions in his grappling, and he's very confident in his grappling. And because of that, I think he throws spinning kicks and wild punches and stuff like that, because he's not really that threatened or that afraid from somebody taking him down. He's confident in his ability to find sweeps from the bottom, and he's also confident in his ability to find submissions from the bottom. I've preached time and time again from this channel that you can't win fights on your back, but Chase Hooper doesn't stick around on his back long when he gets there. We saw that in the Jim Miller fight. These dudes was flipping and flopping all over the place, but Chase Hooper always ended up in the most dominant position, and that's why he was able to get that decision win. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think Hernandez has the tools to win this fight. I just don't think that he's actually going to be able to use those tools, or not be able to. I don't think he's going to choose to use those tools to win this fight. He seems like, I mean, he's such a disciplined striker. He's very disciplined in everything he does. But sometimes in MMA, being disciplined doesn't really mean that you're going to have success in a fight. It's a fucking fight. So you have to sometimes throw the rules out the window, throw the book out the window and just land punches. He never overextends in his punches, so he always stays in good position. But that also means that he doesn't really utilize that power that he has very much. He's kind of a decision merchant nowadays. You can tell he's got big power, but because, like I said, he doesn't overextend, he doesn't look for that damage, he doesn't take chances, he doesn't find ways to put guys away. I also don't like Hernandez's ability to make in-fight adjustments. I broke down a fight against Bill Algeo, however you say his name, and Hernandez, after the first round, went to his corner and said, "I'm losing a point fight," and he was spot on with that assessment. It's not like Algeo was landing the big shots or doing a lot of damage, and I'm sure Hernandez can feel that, but he was still scoring points, and Hernandez wasn't. So his corner acknowledged that. They said the exact same thing to him. So you would think that he would go in there at the second round and press the action, and he picked it up a little bit. But coming from basically doing nothing to doing a little bit or something, it's just not what's gonna do. It's not what you need to win the round and win the fight. He really needed to make it dirty, get on the inside, and utilize his power. That he had a clear power advantage over Algeo, but he just never did that, and that's worrisome. Bill Algeo is a good example of how this fight I think is going to go. I think Bill Algeo is a watered-down version of Chase Hooper. They're both long, and they both utilize their range on their striking, but Hooper really separates himself from a guy like Bill Algeo in the grappling. His transitions are really high level. He's always kind of one step ahead of guys, and he uses his long frame to his advantage in the grappling. So for my official prediction, I'm going with Chase Hooper by decision. I know a lot of motherfuckers are going to be riding the submission prop because Chase Hooper is so high level. But I think the thing with Hernandez is he fights almost to survive. He doesn't fight necessarily to win. To fight to win, you have to put yourself in bad positions sometimes, or not bad positions. You got to put yourself at risk to do the damage that you need to do. And I just don't see Hernandez doing that. I think he's going to fight too reserved, too buttoned up, and that's why I'm leaning towards the Chase Hooper by decision prop. The last fight we're going to get into is Jessica Andrade versus Lupita Godinez. Andrade is sitting at a minus 162, Godinez is sitting at a minus 162 favorite, and Andrade is at a plus 126 underdog. Andrade in the latter half of her career has bounced from 115 to 125. She's fighting this fight at 115, and she typically does a little better. She wins more fights at 115 because she's got that shorter frame. This could be a good thing for fighting at 115 this weekend. Like I said, she fights better at 115 because she really struggles to fight girls who are longer than her, taller than her. She likes to get in that close range and utilize her power. She does have big power for a 115-pound girl. She utilizes her boxing well, but you got to get in closer range. If you're fighting somebody that's a longer fighter, getting in boxing ranges can be a little challenging, and we've seen her have problems with that in the past. Godinez is really disciplined in her striking as well. She's also predominantly a boxer. She keeps a really high guard, so it makes it a little harder for girls to hit her in the head, get clean shots in her head, but she also leaves her body open a little bit with her giving her high guard. I think if Andrade starts to focus and make investments and body shots early in the fight, her hands are going to start dropping, and it's going to open those big head shots that she's going to be looking for. Both girls are really good at wrestling, and they're good. Both have the ability to get the fight to the ground. I think Andrade probably has a little bit of advantage in at least getting takedowns in this fight. Like I said, she does really well with girls that are about her height. Both these girls are coming into this fight 5'2". So given that, I think Andrade has a really good chance of scoring takedowns in this fight and having top position and gaining control time, which we all know in WMMA means a lot. You can probably already tell from my breakdown which way I'm going to lean in. I'm going with the underdog, Jessica Andrade. She's been in the octagon with the toughest girls at 115 and 125. She's been doing this shit for a long time. If you go on her Tapology, she's fought everybody. So there really isn't anything Godinez is going to throw at her that she hasn't seen before. And given Godinez's frame, how that matches up really well for Andrade, I think Andrade's going to have a power advantage. She's going to find strikes in the boxing range that both girls are going to want to be in. And if we get to a clinch, I think Andrade is a stronger fighter. So she's going to be able to secure that body lock and drag Godinez to the ground and get control time on top, which is, like we already said, is super valuable, at least in WMMA. So for my official prediction, I'm going Jessica Andrade by decision. That's all I got for you guys today. Stop back again tomorrow. We're going to break down 3. I think we have to break down 4 fights tomorrow since there's 13 on the card this weekend. The fights as we're going up are getting more and more exciting, so I'm getting more and more excited to break down these fights. But we've stayed up way too late doing this shit already, so I'm tired, and I'm the fuck out of here.